Yeah. Hello, everyone. We are now starting an Ask a Ranger series, which is going to be new on social media. We're going to come to you guys, answer some of your burning questions. And to start off with, we're going to kick it off with questions that we usually get at the park. So here today, I am Ranger Alyssa, and with me, I have.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a ranger here.
So, Rachel, our first question that we get asked a lot, um, that I'm going to hand over to you to answer is this, which is how long was the expedition, and for how long did they travel, and
Yeah,
how far?
that is a great question. We get it asked here at the park all the time. So, this map shows over the 4 years that they were on the expedition. They traveled over 4,000 miles and they went into 10 different states, believe it or not. So, you can kind of see from this map, I outlined it in Sharpie, so I hope you guys can see it at home. We'll post it to a kind of a snippet of it, and then they actually traveled down the Mississippi. They didn't realize it was the Mississippi, but they did travel down the Mississippi to a little kind of place down there where they had a little village in Mexico. Another big question that we get asked at the park all the time, so which is going to be this one. So, what did conquistadors do in their free time? And we're going to show you guys two different decks today and also two different games and kind of comparing the two. So, we're going to start off with this. This is the military Spanish deck. It looks kind of different than our royal deck that we know of today. It has swords, coins, clubs, and then chalices, and it doesn't actually have a queen in it. So you have your knight, then you have your prince, and then you have your king. So, and it also only goes up to 9. So you have less cards than what you're normally going to have in a deck. And then what kind of deck do you have today, Alyssa?
Yeah, so I have a Spanish military deck as well. However, you'll notice that all the cards are kind of a bit fancier looking. And you'll also notice they probably remind you a lot of a tarot card deck. And you would be right, that's because they are. But tarot decks did not just appear out of thin air one day. They're actually a combination of two other card decks, and one of them happens to be the Spanish military deck. So, an Italian man was playing with the Spanish military deck one day, added another deck of cards, and played a game called Tarocchi, which eventually would lead to the name of the tarot card deck. This game was kind of played like bridge, but it didn't really have any kind of divination or fortune telling behind it. It was just a game that people played. But eventually, the occult got a hold of the Tarocchi card deck, looked at these cards, assigned some different meanings to them, and eventually turned it into a divination card deck, which is pretty crazy. So I know that you, so we have our two card decks, and then we both have a board game. Do you want to tell us about your game that you had?
Yeah, so mine is a very classic game. You guys might even have it at your house right now. So if you guys want to take a little guess, it's actually chess. So chess was DeSoto's favorite game. He actually learned a lot of strategy from it. So when you think about in those times of the 16th century, around when the expedition happened in 1539, you have to think about that there were actually kings and queens living in those kind of kingdoms back then. So this game was very useful because DeSoto was a high military ranking individual, and that's what the conquistador means. But Alyssa, you have a completely different strategy kind of board game. What do you have today?
Yeah, so I have this game over here. You play it with this board. And this game is going to be called Morris. So what Morris is, it's a strategy game that's kind of like a mixture between tic-tac-toe and Chinese checkers. So you have 2 people playing this game, and there's 2 variations you can play as well. So you can either play 9-man Morris or 12-man Morris. And really the only difference is how many of these little pieces you need. So in 9-man Morris, you would have 9 of each colored piece of these game chips. Usually these game chips would be made out of bone from an animal. However, we do not have those. These are just plastic. And basically what the goal of the game is to get 3 in a row, either up and down or side to side along these solid black lines. So you'll notice there's solid black lines and then there's double lines. Those double lines are for when you're playing 12-man Morris. So when you're playing 9-man Morris, you can't get 3 in a row going diagonally, but when you play it 12-man Morris, you can. So basically, you're trying to get 3 in a row. I'll kind of demonstrate it right here. And once you do, you're allowed to remove one of your opponent's pieces. Basically, you're trying to get them down to 2 pieces so they can no longer play the game. But the cool thing about this game is you can make this board at home. So if you look at the board, it's just a series of 3x3 blocks forming a square. And then you just need to get tokens or chips that you have 9 of. So you can either do maybe like pennies and dimes. Maybe you can cut up some pieces of paper so you have 9 of one color and then 9 of another color. And you can actually play this at home, and it's a pretty fun game to play. So that is what we have for you guys today. We will be coming at you again with more questions to answer in the future. And if you have any questions you would like us to answer, you could possibly get your question answered if you put that comment in the comment box below. So yeah. Thank you. Bye.